Language disclaimer. This review of Robot JOX contains some language. It's not so bad, but it does contain the F word, but not the C word. Don't worry. That said, if you would get grounded and sent to your room, or perhaps have your PlayStation, Xbox controller, Sega Genesis taken away because you're watching a YouTube review with the F word in it, you should probably bail. Enjoy! What's up, y'all? Welcome to part 2 of the Movie Quotes Jones review of Robot JOX. Now, this is a first for me. This may be the first time that I've ever released a video and only said positive things about a movie. You all were here to see it first.
I'm glad to see you. Very glad.
I love this movie. It is so much fun to watch. And I guess a big part of that, we'll go ahead and knock out the fallacious part of this right away, is nostalgia. This is one of the first movies that I really remember watching as a kid. Now, this movie came out in about 1990. Probably released on video cassette 1991, which would have made me between 6 and 7 years old the first time that I encountered it. And I was watching what my 7-year-old brain thought was this epic drama, this war movie. I'm able to allow my nostalgic feelings for this movie override my cynicism. I would ordinarily pick a movie like this apart, as I'm sure you know by now. But I just don't with this. Now, in my humble opinion, the main strength that this movie has is its characters, particularly the main protagonists.
Achilles.
Achilles.
Achilles!
Achilles.
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 Achilles!
He's not very relatable. None of the characters are very relatable, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute, but he just says some funny shit and does some funny shit, and he's very hammy, very campy.
It was him and me.
Yesterday.
Now it's just me.
7 fights.
Come on! Shit!
You're making my beer curdle.
Now, it might be better that Achilles' beer does curdle, because maybe he'll be less likely to drink it. Those of you with a keen memory may remember this from my Part 1 review. So, riddled with guilt, Achilles goes and gets shit-faced at a bar, where they have 20th century style drinks that have apparently been unaffected by the nuclear radiation. Let's take a quick look at how that actually played out for Achilles.
I cannot serve anyone who is drunk. You gotta admit you are one drunk guy.
Well, when I'm so drunk, you think you can stop me? Try to stop me.
Your funeral.
One hangover. Oh, God. Oh, orange juice. Orange juice. Why?
And then we have probably the best line in the entire movie, hands down.
No, you're a lot of things, Alexander, but you're not a coward. I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your ass!
Oh, that last one was pretty fucking great, wasn't it? Let's enjoy that line together again.
I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your ass!
Then, of course, we have the main antagonist.
Alexander.
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 Alexander!
Alexei, stop.
What?
Alexei, stop.
Alexei, stop!
Alexander's entire speaking part tends to consist of saying wa or kurava at various times and with various different vocal inflections. So I present to you a montage called The Many Whys and Kauravas of Alexander. He is such a campy ass cartoon villain. I just can't get over it how funny he is.
And you make my drink taste like blood.
The characters are not really given any backstories. We don't know anything about Achilles' past. We know he has a brother who is an expert reader, unlike him.
I can't read, but I'm not dumb. Don't pull that shit on me.
We also don't know any backstories involving Tex, Alexander. We kind of know about Athena. She's a
Test tube, baby.
if you will. We don't really know much about the origins of the Tubies. There's no backstory whatsoever. And ordinarily this would be a major flaw in the movie. It would make the characters be hard to relate to and make them seem hollow and shallow and empty. And in a sense they are, but at the same time this is kind of like a plane, train, or bus ride where the person that you end up sitting next to turns out to be super cool. And you have a really great time for a couple of hours in conversation or whatever, and then the trip ends and you and your new friend part ways and probably never see each other again. But in spite of not really knowing anything about them, it was still a pleasant experience, and better yet, it was in place of what otherwise would probably have been a boring experience. Everybody's motivation in this movie is pretty clear. Achilles and Alexander are fighting for country, and they're fighting for land, and they're fighting for pride. Athena and the rest of the Tubies are fighting to prove themselves. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the character actors in this movie, and we're going to focus on two, the news reporter and Tex Conway, the legendary Tex Conway. So let's start with the news reporter. Now, one time I watched this movie with a good friend of mine named Kayla. Kayla, if you're watching this, I hope that you don't hate me for making you watch this with me. But I remember one time saying to my friend, this guy landed this role in this movie.
6 hours ago, in the too aptly named Death Valley. There are no words to describe the magnitude of this tragedy, ladies and gentlemen. The total dead number over 300, in this, the worst disaster in the history of the games.
And he went home to his family and said, you guys, I have done it. I have landed a role. I've made it. My entire career is set because I am the news reporter in Robot JOX. And he ended up landing a role in a big movie that a lot of us know and love. And that movie was Fargo. Fargo. Have you seen it? If not, check it out immediately. Stop this review. Watch Fargo. It's really, really good. Coen Brothers gold. Anyhow, here is the Robot JOX news announcer in Fargo.
Guys here, these guys, it's always the same. It's always more.
He says I can knock $100 off that True Coat.
100. You lied to me, Mr. Lundgaard. You're a bald-faced liar. A fucking liar.
You're a fucking liar. I'm sure he was in other stuff, but this is the only one that I can remember him from. The other character actor that I want to focus on is Tex Conway, because he has also got some pretty great lines.
Soil is just dirt. All the rest of the team is dead. You know the truth. And the truth is gonna set you free. Wait. I got all the time in the world.
I got all the time in the world.
I'll see you in hell.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in any other movie except for Scarface, where he played Scarface's lawyer.
Tony, the law has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm an expert at raising that doubt. But when you got $1.3 million undeclared dollars staring into a videotape camera, honey, baby, it's hard to convince a jury you found it in a taxicab.
But he was really great in this, and I appreciate him.
Oh.
I'll see you in hell.
Let's talk about the gladiator battles. The robot gladiator battles resemble this. Much more than this. They actually remind me a lot of a fight from like Final Fantasy, where you wait your turn and then you attack. They don't really actually brawl, they just kind of fire at each other one at a time. I guess this isn't really a real recreation of what any kind of a serious battle would look like, but who gives a shit? It's just so much fun. The special effects were pretty good. The robots were obviously miniatures or models of some kind that were animated in stop motion, but I think that adds to the atmosphere of the movie. If they had super fluid motion the way that robots nowadays definitely do have, I don't know if we would have gotten the effect of this being post-apocalyptic planet Earth. They move with, you know, somewhat jerky motions, and they make the whole sound when they move, and it's cool. It's just cool to watch. I couldn't help myself. I had to show the crotch chainsaw again. That might be all I got to say about Robot JOX. I hope that you enjoyed the reviews, and if you've not seen the movie, I would absolutely recommend that you seek it out and give it a watch. Also watch Fargo and also watch Scarface. Follow me on Twitter at this handle, and find me on Facebook. Movie Quotes Jones. Movie Quotes is one word. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you see fit. And I will see you next time.